Hey everybody, welcome back to Quali-Tea time. So a bunch has happened in the news over the past week. I am sticking to my guns of not discussing it, say perhaps in a little sideway video, but we'll see. But it's actually, on the whole, kind of actually positive, so hey, great for that. Go punch those Nazis, everybody. But we also have some good news with regards to the channel. So I have been doing a ton of planning, to the point that as I am stating this, there are currently 62 videos lined up on my calendar. Those aren't videos that are completed and ready to fire, because, dear God, I would be sad that way. But they are videos that I know when they're going out, and I know what they're for, and I know what episode number they are, and all this stuff, so it's just a great way of me having an idea of what's going to come next, and also what to tell you is up next in the schedule. But among those 62 videos, there is planning for the June special. So if you weren't here last year around June time, June is where I have my birthday, and it's also dead middle inside the year, so it's a decent place to have a special. The first special, starting off our tradition, was The Return, which saw me finally gathering together about a dozen different characters, voice all of them, and then have them in a nice fancy cinematic series that was 5 episodes long plus a behind-the-scenes featurette, and we're going to be doing the same this year, although hopefully with a much smaller cast, starting on June the 19th, a little after June the 14th, but just the way our new schedule works out. So that'll be taking up every primary block slot between June the 19th and the end of June, and you'll get to see some nice cinematics, you'll get to see some favourite characters from the older stories, and you'll get to see some interesting things happening. But, not gonna give you too many spoilers on that just yet, because hey, it's February, that's like 4 months still. But, another thing I can say as a consequence of having all that planned out is that I now know, with reasonable certainty, when Mating Do will finish. So barring incident, Mating Do is currently set to conclude on May the 24th with episode number 30. So you have an idea of just how close we're getting to the end of it. And on to the schedule. On Thursday, it's an episode of The Lost Hands as we are confronting Alexis, the time-meddling mage. And we also have Midnight Souls, 11 PM GMT over at twitch.tv/lyinginbedmon. On Friday, it's an episode of Dungeon Maker as we have a big, beautifying time-lapse. To give you an idea of how big, it's going to take me about 10,000 cobblestone. On Saturday, it's hopefully an episode of Dungeons & Dragon Hat's Path of Steel at 9 PM GMT over at twitch.tv/thedragonhat. We had, like, one person missing and a bunch of other things came up last week, and before that we couldn't find half of our party. Hopefully, things go to plan this week. On Monday, it's an episode of Fox Team Alpha as the Omnics rise again as we play around with a new Bastion rebalancing. On Tuesday, it's an episode of Edgington, and we have Yogdor's Live number 78 at 9 PM GMT over at twitch.tv/lyinginbedmon. Lastly for the week on Wednesday, it is Mating Do, as the maid reveals something we possibly should have asked a long time ago. And on to the questions. So as always, these are drawn from the comments section of the preceding video. I've said that so many times the words have lost all meaning. But if you have a question for me, leave it down below, and hopefully I'll get to it next week. Our first question of the week comes from Sabi Nyan. Could the witch survive with their head cut off? It's a decent question, because the witch is immortal, and pretty much what that means is when you try to kill the witch, or deal the witch a lethal injury, at least, they sort of reset in-game mechanics anyways. So if you tried to cut their head off in the literal game world, then you would deal them lethal damage and they would pop back up to a few hearts, which isn't very particularly dramatic. But in the lore, what would happen would be one of two things. They either just warp back to the well, or, because they're not a drama queen, they could just continue talking out of their head. No worries there. They're, like, canonically they are sort of shadow stuff. It's a bit weird, but they're meant to be kind of creepy and odd. Emma of Zimmerman asks, have you ever broken any of your limbs? Initially when I read this question, my experience with the internet has taught me to say, is this a threat? Are you offering? But no, I have never actually broken any of my limbs. Have no broken bones, have no, like, broken muscles or torn muscles, even ligaments, really. The RSI is one of the closest thing I've had recently. I am, however, missing an organ. Have fun guessing which. Lastly for the week, Ashley Flower asks, how did you come up with the lying verse? I have always been a big fan of the multiverse interpretation of things. I like the notion that there's a million or more, probably, well, technically there's an infinite number of me's making slightly different decisions and determining the course of their lives as they go through. It's a very interesting idea. And from there, when I tried to think of, okay, I want to keep doing a story, but I want it to be clear that this isn't the same character, even if it's got the same name and a lot of the same appearances and stuff. So I guess we can describe this then as a multiverse. It's of an alternate universe, and once you do an alternate universe a few times, it becomes a multiverse. Hence, it becomes the lying verse. Fairly straightforward. And that is it for this week. So, hope you've all enjoyed, and I shall catch you all next time.